Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Thank you for the polite introduction. I'm Marcel Ellis.
I'm Marcel Scott. I'm BJ Wilson. And this is the football VR experience.
Just a brief kind of introduction on why we began forming this VR game. So I know everyone knows last fall or last spring, we were interrupted by COVID-19. And when we were in our capstone class, we were beginning on thinking of like a project, a final project to conclude like our bachelor's degree here at Quincy. And that COVID-19 outbreak kind of lit a light bulb, and we decided to make a game where we could play football without being at Quincy. So this is kind of a perfect storm. And us being athletes at Quincy here, we had our seasons interrupted. This spring, we got to play 2 games, but all fall we were kind of on the field, off the field. So there was complications with our students here with getting playing time, getting practice, because we had a season in the spring. So this is also an opportunity for our guys to practice without being on campus, without being around other people. And another benefit from this game was because there's been a lot of analytics being introduced to sports in general. So this will be a way for our coaching staff to track our performances, our practice time, without being physically in the building, physically present with them. And another way for us to uphold the social distancing.
So the objectives of the project was, The objective of this project was to, basically we wanted to focus on one position, which is the quarterback, which is where major decisions can affect the game overall. So by helping getting additional reps for QBs, it helps build up strategy for later games and very important times where you need a quarterback to make an important decision. Another thing was, like you said earlier, wanted to work on safety protocols of COVID-19, keeping safe distance, limited contact with others, which is also under that. And like I said earlier, improvement on game strategy overall. So actually we're going to skip over the progress update. We're going to talk about the difficulties we had during the creating of the game over the past 2 semesters. One of them starting out with the fact that none of us know anything about VR before this happened. So we had to do all the research on YouTube, on just Googling stuff, honestly. We had to find different types of code, find what worked best for us. And in that process, we started out with this, which is the HTC Vive, and we switched over to the Oculus Quest, which didn't work for us at all. And so we spent about a month and a half to 2 months working with a VR that we couldn't get to connect to Unity, which is the program we used to create the game. So that was one of our biggest struggles, I'd say, just the fact that we almost wasted 2 months. And then we switched back over to the Vive and found out that it was the version of Unity 2019 was the only one that would work for what we were trying to do. Also, along with the struggles, it was really hard for us to get in here in the first semester because regulations were a little stricter, and we also weren't allowed to have too many people in the VR lab at a time. So that was another very big struggle we had to go through. But we had some accomplishments.
So as he said, we had a lot of hurdles that we had to overcome, and once we got the ball rolling, I felt like we were pretty productive. We got a lot accomplished, and one of those was the design. So we actually have a football field that is very similar to our own football field at the stadium, Quincy Stadium. We also have a football, an object that looks similar to a football, and we finally got a throwing mechanism down. We had a problem with collision issues, so at first we weren't able to pick up any objects, like things would fall through the floor because of gravity. So we finally got that fixed. And now we have our body movement with our hands. So the throwing motion is pretty accurate to what a quarterback would do in live competition. So that's very good for practicality and functionality. And we also have, like I said, the field. So we have accurate line markers. We have out of bounds. We have an end zone, goal post. So visually, it'll be very realistic, very similar to what a quarterback is experiencing out there on game day.
We did end up taking the goalpost out, by the way, just because it was in the way of the wording that was in the background.
All right, what to expect? We basically, he kind of gave you the overround, but we're going to have the VR testing, which is basically you being in the experience yourself, being able to throw it to a person or throw it to like a box. We have like trash cans representing people, so you could be able, oh, good catch or bad throw, something like that. The computer we use, the boxes, is basically the defenders that you do not want to throw the ball to. They're going to add some difficulties so the QB can understand, oh, I thought I can make that throw, but now I understand, like, I have to be aware of what's around them and around that receiver. And the realistic football stadium, we also went over, got the field and the lines and the end zone. So.
All right, so that's the end of the presentation portion. We do have a demo that we're going to show you guys. Some things to note. We did have a few bugs when we complete a pass to one of the moving trash can shaped items. It's supposed to say good pass, but it was doing that when it wasn't supposed to, so we ended up just taking that out. And the only notification you get is when you make a bad pass. The other thing that's important to note is that the color will randomly change at a point, which I'm not entirely sure why, but it's all good. It still looks kind of the same. And the final thing is, it is really hard to throw a ball in VR, and I now understand why most things, they aim it and it like kind of throws it for you. So, yeah. I'll show you the basics of what it is, and then we will let you guys test it if anyone else wants to test it out. Can you move the microphone, Marcel? Can you move the microphone? Go to the left. All right, so aside from the you guys can see what I can see, right? Yes. Okay, cool. So aside from the stadium, like actual like seating and stuff, we have our little Hawks logo down there. This normal field, green and whatnot. It's only half field because we figured that made the most sense for what we were trying to do. Okay, well that activates the people coming in. As soon as it activates, they start moving about a second later. This is cover 2. For those of you who don't really know football, it's, what is it, Marcel? It's 2 high safeties.
2 high safeties. They're basically in charge of guarding the deeper half of the field, and we have 5 underneath coverage players, and basically they're separating into zones. So whatever receiver or whatever offensive player comes into their zone, they'll try to stop them from catching the pass.
And then, so the goal of our offense, we have a few routes that will come open at different parts of the concept. The main goal is to hit, if you can see, moving to the back left corner, there is a post route. That's the deep shot, and we're pulling the safety on the left side down with a dig, which is a crossing over the middle of the field. And with the safety's rules, he'll come down, and if that makes sense to you guys, then yeah. Sorry if I'm going too fast. But anyways, these are our footballs and our block arm. I'm going to show you how hard it is to throw it because you're going to see some inaccuracy right here. Oh, okay, that was kind of a dive. But if that would have hit it, that would, or theoretically would say good pass, but we did take that out like right before the presentation because we couldn't get it to work. If you hit one of the red boxes, 1 second. I'm waiting for the one that comes right next to me because, yeah. It will say bad retry again. And then you can reset by, this is where the color changes. Coming over here, tapping this one, it resets everything. Once again, don't know why the color changes, but you can still come back over here to restart it up again. And that is what we got. stick with the same system. We honestly had something decent going with the HTC Vive, but then we were about the possibility of using it with the Oculus Quest, which has no wires, which sounded on paper so much better. So we decided to try to work on that, and if we would have just stick with the HTC Vive, I honestly think we realistically probably would have had people in there instead of boxes. We would have had actual catching mechanics instead of when the ball phases through, it causes an event to occur. So I think that would have been a good choice on our part from the beginning. You guys have any thoughts on that?
You hit everything on the spot.
The only thing I would add is I think at times we got too caught up in actually the actual design, how it looked, and I feel like if we would have focused on its functions early on, I think we would have gotten further, but we ran into a lot of adversity, and I'm actually proud of what we accomplished given the circumstances. So
I think it would be a cool idea as long as we're still allowed to work in the VR lab. Okay. I mean, we might as well.
Me personally, I would like to venture into like soccer. It would be kind of similar. The only thing is I don't know how you would actually like kick. I don't know how you do that, but yeah. So like sports where like I know football is a team sport, but where one individual can like impact the game a lot. So like basketball would kind of be fun. I think that would be the most fun. Well, I think there's a lot of sports you can do with tennis. Oh,
Baseball,
Yeah.
that's one I could really see.
I think if we got into more position specific, I think D-line, specifically the defensive end position, making a read of if the offensive lineman is going down. Marcel knows you have to squeeze sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be contained for the quarterback. It'd be good to make reads for that. Same thing with the opposite of the quarterback on defense would be the safety, making reads on what the offense is doing up front and deciding what you do. And I also really think basketball would be a good idea, just having the point guard run plays. I wonder how hard it'd be to actually like be accurate with the motion, but still, it'd be cool. Yeah. Which there are some games that do it really well. When we were doing our research, we found a lot of games that had throwing motions done well and had like an aiming system for all that. And I'm sure there's stuff like that for basketball.
Oh, there's my arm.
how she did she touch the
You gotta go like right up to the ball and hold down the trigger.
Oh, it moved, it moved.
There you go. You got one.
Look at that. All right,
So you touch it on the right thing on the right. Yep.
there's my people. And who am I trying to hit?
The gray.
gray ones.
Gray one?
Oh. Oh, she almost got it.
You might need to recruit her.
We were struggling.
Almost. All right. Whoa. That's pretty good. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
No one else wants to attempt it. That's all we got for you guys. Appreciate.
Thank you for coming.
Yep. Appreciate you guys for coming.